But I must stand up for a couple of my guests who've been insulted by Victoria Police and a couple of clowns of the Melbourne Age. Now, I told you about two people, Mr Strazdins and Thorley, they were on the show, who say a police officer in Melbourne threatened to arrest Frank on Australia Day for wearing these Australian flags. Frank had just stepped from a shop to investigate noise he was hearing. It was an anti-Australia Day march.
100 metres away towards Burke Street was thousands of flags, Palestine flags, Aboriginal flags, chanting, singing. And within 2 minutes, a police officer approached me and said, "You are under arrest for inciting a riot." I said, "What? How?" He said, "With your flags on your head." I said, "Today is Australia Day, and I've just returned from the Shrine of Remembrance 21 gun salute." And he started to walk me off the middle of the road.
And these flags he's taken exception to.
These are the ones I had in my head.
The very ones you got there.
Yeah, he was a big guy, the police officer, but he came up to me and he said, "Do you know there's 30,000 people up there?" I didn't even know they were there. And I said, "What, 30,000? I said, "I had no idea." And he seemed to back off then. He wasn't as angry. And Frank had said that we wanted to go to South Bank.
Now, police say that's all wrong, or, well, some of it. They say they've found the highly skilled senior officer involved and can confirm there was no arrest or threat of one. Nor was Frank told he couldn't wear an Australian flag. Instead, they said Frank was asked to move for his safety from the middle of the tram tracks in the direct route of the protest. And the officers just followed Frank into the shop, told him that he had the power to move him on, by the way, told him he had the power to move him on, followed him into the shop to say, well, look, for your own safety, you've got to go. He didn't say, apparently, according to police, you can't wear your flags. Oh, really? So he was moved on, but Frank somehow made up that bit about inciting a riot, arrest, made it all up. And the officer just walked with Frank, as the police officer admitted, to the shop where Di was, but just to kindly warn them the crowd he was meant to be policing might pick on them. And Di, she simply imagined that this officer said, "No, you've got to take off the flags." Now, Frank and Di don't actually strike me as the kind that make things up like that. Frank even provided evidence to police of the shop he was in so they could get the CCTV footage that he told me would back him up. I think something did happen, and as Frank told me yesterday again, why else was that encounter so upsetting for him that for days he could barely sleep? Now, of course, this could be solved if the police released any body cam or CCTV footage from this incident, as Frank would wish. Until they do, I think I know who I believe here. And, of course, who had the most reason to put a gloss on what really happened.